Hi, fifth grade teachers. This is a quick walkthrough of your Week 2 Language Arts and Social Studies unit in Blend, following your Culture and Identity unit. So starting on the main page here, let's do a quick walkthrough of what we've got. Social Studies, you're working on setting up the expectation of United States history, and thinking about the 5 strands of social studies and exploring what the 5 strands are. Reading, your main lesson is about the What Surprised Me Notice and Note signpost. And writing workshop is about exploding a moment and thinking about that as part of your work, connecting to the idea generator from week 1. So let's start with social studies, and we'll go through each of the lessons very, very briefly. So students start with engage your brain. The goal this week is to understand the 5 strands of social studies and prepare to study the culture, geography, history, economics, and government. There's a fun video of touring the United States and just having students think about, what does the United States mean to you? Where have you been? Where do you want to go? Why? Then students are going to be invited to set up their social studies notebook. There's a video showing them how to set that up. And there is an option for them to set up their social studies notebook digitally. You could also include your, have your students set up a paper notebook. That is up to you. Then students will be exploring the 5 strands of social studies. There's a play pause it video for them to watch and engage with, and then start adding to their notebook about definitions of social studies. The next 3 lessons are breaking down the 5 strands of social studies. So this first one is about civics and government. There are some images, and then there's a video on 3 branches of government. The next page is about history and culture, including some virtual field trips, and then to record in their social studies notebook. And the last one is on economics and geography, including a short video on economics. So then we want students, for the reflection exit ticket this week, we want them to reflect in their on what the areas of social studies are that are important to them. And so they will kind of make a little sketch of themselves as a social scientist and explain, and then they could take a picture and upload it. I think that this also could be done digitally, and then they just submit it as an assignment. All right. Moving on to reading. For reading this week, students will be engaging with the strategy What Surprised Me to deepen their understanding. This is a notice and note signpost. So here we go. They're starting off with this image. What do you see? What does it make you wonder? They respond in the discussion board. All right, then moving forward, they'll stop and ask, what surprised me? There's a notice and note, big question 1, what surprised me, play pause it video for them to engage with. Then they're gonna access their shared text. There is a personal narrative called Car Trip that they will be reading. The text is included in line right here for them to read. As you can see, it's just a single page. It's pretty short. They can also listen to it here. So they can hear it. I'm sorry. They can also listen to it down below right here. So that accommodation is there for students. On the following page, they are then going to share what surprised them from the shared reading of Car Trip, right? So these are the same sentence stems. I was shocked about, I could not believe, I never thought, really. And there's how to respond in the discussion board. Because our topic is what surprised me, students are invited to engage with that same strategy while they're doing their own independent reading. There's the links, there's a timer, respond in the discussion board about their independent reading and what surprised them. During small group, you'll just want to be making sure that students are engaging with the what surprised me strategy. Then for the exit ticket, these are mostly reflective questions. Why should you use the strategy? What surprised you in your reading? What's the most surprising thing you read about this week? How do you feel about your learning? And what questions do you still have? Moving on to writing. Last week, students made an idea generator. So this week, they're going to be choosing a moment from the idea generator to use the strategy explode the moment to expand a piece of their writing. So there's a fun video to get them started with some slow-mo stuff. And looking at it in slow motion, then thinking about what do we notice when we slow things down? What can we notice in those moments? Then students have a video lesson by Barry Lane on exploding a moment. This is a great opportunity for you to actually make your own explode a moment video and really connect with students. But students could also just watch this one as well. There is an explode the moment assignment that is here. So students would click here to get their own copy of explode a moment. And what they're being asked to do is write for an entire page about one moment. So there's a timer there to keep them focused. So we don't want them to just write for 5 minutes. We want them to try to write for 20. Then they'll come into this next part of the discussion board and pick up part of their explode the moment that they want to share. And this is going to take a little bit of coaching with your students to just remind them that it is raw writing, that nothing has been perfected yet. And so we're really just asking for kindness and feedback. During your small group, you would want to make sure that students are understanding and engaging with the explode a moment strategy. And then for the reflection exit ticket, students again are just reflecting. Why do we use the explode a moment strategy when writing a personal narrative? How do you feel about your learning this week? What questions do you still have about the learning? I also think that there's a lot of space in writing this week for your synchronous lessons to include mentor text or other things that you think would be really important for students to hear about personal narrative. After they've completed that, they can go through the may do choices in whatever order you would like them to do so. So there you go. There is the week 2 language arts and social studies for 5th grade. Happy teaching!